everybody, so today I'm going to be doing my updated makeup collection and storage video, and I've been wanting to film this for a few days now because I recently redid my whole collection. I'm not going to bore you guys with a whole long intro, and I'm just going to get into it. If you have any questions on any of the things that you see in this video, you can leave me a comment below, or I will have my email in the bottom bar below along with all of my social networks where you can find me. So again, I hope you guys enjoy, and if you want to see how it is, just keep on watching.
Okay, so to start off my makeup storage and collection, I actually just want to show you guys this big bookcase right here, which is the only, I guess, big, like, major piece of storage that is new in my collection right now. The other containers you have seen before, so I'm gonna get started right along the top. In the top over here from left to right, I have this blue container where I keep all of my dirty brushes. Right now I do have a few on my table just because I just did my makeup, but normally all of my dirty brushes go in here. And then in this bin right here, normally I have my dirty powder puffs, but since I washed all of them, they aren't in there right now. And then I just have a lip gloss in there that I've just been loving and using every day, so I just keep it in there so I can grab it really easily in the morning. And then to start off, I have my contact lens solution over here, my lotion over here, which actually is a body lotion, but I use it for my face because it's the only one that actually works for me. So I have 2 bottles of that there because I do use it on my body as well. So I do have 2 bottles there. And then I have my makeup remover wipes, which I have been loving. They are by the brand Me. I'm normally not a huge fan of makeup remover wipes, but these are actually a really good value, and then they work really well. And then right here, it's kind of weird, but I have toilet paper. I use this just to clean up any boo-boos if I have to spot clean a brush that I don't want to use, like, on the towel that I normally keep right over here to spot clean. I use that for just like a bunch of different reasons, so I have that there. Also for when I'm using this, which I have this powder container, and this I actually use as a palette for my foundation, so I will use like a bit of the tissue just to kind of clean it off every day and just make sure that it's sanitized and ready for use. And then over here in this container, I do have Fix Plus. I have rubbing alcohol to spot clean brushes. I don't know where it is right now, but I normally do have a spray bottle of water in there. I have my antibacterial soap and some Vaseline for my lips. Up here, I just have a brush that I use to just kind of tame down baby hairs when I'm doing my makeup, just because my baby hairs can get really crazy and they get into my makeup, and especially when I'm doing foundation, it's just easier to have them all out of the way and smooth back. And then for my actual storage container for like what I have on top, I have this little Sterilite drawer. It's a 5-drawer set from Walmart. And then in the first 2 containers, I just have Q-tips. I use these every single day, which is why I have so many of them in there. I use them to clean up makeup mistakes. I use them to, you know, just clean little areas in like makeup palettes if it's starting to get really dusty and dingy where like all the makeup has gotten into it. So I use them for a bunch of different things. I use them to clean my piercings, many different things, so I have them there, easy access. And then I have the next 2 drawers, which are these little cosmetic wedges. I have these because the beauty blender that I have, the top of it actually kind of broke off. I just ripped it off, but it broke in half a little bit, so I didn't have anything that I really like to use for like concealer, so I was using these very consistently for a while, so I do have a bunch of those in these drawers. And then on the bottom, I just have eyebrow and eyelash stuff. So I have all of my like fake eyelashes, which is only one right now because I'm not a huge fan of fake lashes. I have all of like my tweezers, which I use for my eyebrows, my 2 like my paint pot and my fluid line by MAC in Quite Natural and Dip Down, which I use to fill in my brows. And then I have my mascaras in here, just because they're easier for me to access every single day, and I don't have a lot of those products, so I prefer to just have them out of the way in an area that they're not going to take up too much space or get kind of clustered. So over here in my bookcase, and I'm sorry if I'm talking like super fast, I just want to make sure that I get everything in without making this video too long. In my bookcase, I have all of my palettes, and I'll just give you a quick overview. And then there's some down there as well. I'm actually going to start from the bottom just because there's miscellaneous things. over here in this little container, it's just like a makeup train case. I have washcloths in there because I do use them to spot clean brushes, as well as like I use it as an exfoliant for my face as like a physical exfoliant instead of using a chemical exfoliant, which I find irritates my skin really badly. So I have all of those in there just to keep them out of the way so they don't get dusty or dingy, since I will be using them on my face. Over here is just backup contact lens solution, backup rubbing alcohol, backup Q-tips, and then a few palettes here by e.l.f., which are just like my big palettes. You don't see those too often. I don't use them very often. In the next like shelf, I do have an Ulta palette, which is in a train case. You saw this in my most recent videos. I actually had a haul from Ulta, which I showcased that. I have two little e.l.f. palettes right here, which if I can grab, you can see. They just look like this. They're just like little color palettes by e.l.f. I have their little book palettes, which look like this. You guys have seen these in my tutorials as well. So I keep those down here because they're smaller and they're just easier to store right there. More palettes, and then my Big NYX palette right there. On the top, I have my 3 Urban Decay Naked palettes, the Urban Decay Electric, the Urban Decay Vice 2, the BH Cosmetics. These are their like San Francisco, Malibu, Hollywood palettes, the ones that are like inspired by cities. I have those right there. I have the Coastal Scents Smoky palette, the, what is this? The Galaxy Chic palette, the Take Me to Brazil, the Eyes on the 60s. I have this, which is the BH Party Girl palette. Like there's the Jenny Rivera, the Day and Night, and then the Special Occasion palettes here. I have the 28 Neutral palette, and then the 26 Colors palette. I have the 56 eyeshadow blush palette, the Smoky eyeshadow palette by BH Cosmetics, the 252 palette by Coastal Scents, all of the 120 palettes, all of the 88 palettes that you can find, and then I do have a Sephora palette back there that's like an older palette that I don't use as often. And then, if I can close this up and come up here. Over here, this is not always here, obviously. This is just brushes that I've recently washed and makeup puffs that I recently washed, so those are just drying, and once those are dry, I take that out, and then there's nothing on my table. I'm going to show you my table right now. First, I'm just going to show you, this is my mirror. You guys have seen this before, I believe. It's just like a stand-up mirror. There's no light or anything on it, just because I feel like the lights fixtures that I have are enough for me, and I don't need the extra lighting. I do have my tripod on my desk. It normally wasn't on my desk, but I needed a place to put it since I had my table against the wall, and I figured since I don't have anything else on the table, it's okay if it takes up a little bit of space. So the only thing I normally have on my table is this washcloth, which I use to spot clean brushes. So that is normally there. I change that out every few days just because it gets really dingy, and I just use that to wipe down brushes during makeup looks as well as to spot clean. Here on the top, I have, or wait, before I show you guys, I do have this drawer right here, which you guys have seen in a previous video. On the top, I have all of my acrylic nail sets. So I have like a bunch of all of my acrylic powders and tips and everything. I recently got into doing my own acrylic nails. I don't have them on right now, as you can see, but I did get into that for a while, and I'm just giving my nails a break right now, and I just have all of my stuff there, so it's out of the way and all contained. Up here are just a few foundations that I'm trying to just finish up because they're almost out, so I'm just leaving those there. I keep my contact lens case right here, so it's easy for me to grab in the morning. I do have my Dove Beauty Bar, which is what I use to wash my face every day. I find that it's the only thing that doesn't irritate my skin, so this is the sensitive skin formula, and I would really recommend it if you're in the market for an inexpensive face cleanser. The first drawer that I have here is all brushes, so I have all my face brushes. All of my eye brushes are in here. It's kind of messy right now because I was like digging through it earlier for a specific brush. I do have a few of these like brush guards in here, which I do use on some of my brushes because there are a few that the brush hairs tend to fray, so I find that it's easier to use these on certain brushes. But I tend to keep the face brushes towards the back and the eye brushes towards the front, since I do use the eye brushes more often, and the face brushes I don't tend to switch out as often as I do the eyes. Then the next one is my foundation drawer. Now this has gotten cut down significantly. If you've seen my old videos, I used to have anywhere upwards to 16 foundations at a time. Right now I only have 8, I believe, and then I do have my primers in this one up here since I did have the space in this one. I personally am trying to use up my foundations right now, which is why it's so empty looking, but I'm a big fan of like MAC foundations, which is why you'll see I have a lot of MAC foundations in here. I have a Laura Mercier, Revlon Photo Ready, and the CoverGirl Clean, but I'm a huge fan of the MAC foundations, and I'm trying to just use up all the other ones so I can get the foundations that I really enjoy using on a daily basis. Sorry if I'm saying a lot. I'm just trying to figure out everything I want to say. The next drawer is all powders. So I have like my Palladio powders, the, what is this? Clinique powder, the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural, CoverGirl Translucent Powder, the e.l.f. Translucent Powder, my Ben Nye Banana Powder, favorite powder of all time. I have the 2 brushes that I use with my powders, and I just keep these here because I don't change out my powder brushes every single day, so I do keep them there. So I know that they've been used, but I also know that they don't need to be washed yet. The next one over here is my concealers. I have a NYX concealer in orange, which is just a corrector. My favorite concealers, which are the MAC Studio Finish concealers, the Kat Von D Tattoo concealer, and then the MAC Pro Longwear concealer. The next drawer is my eyeliners, eyeshadow bases, and eyeshadow primers. So I have all my eyeliners in here. I have like Urban Decay, Prestige, I have some e.l.f., Ulta. There's a bunch of different pencil eyeliners, Hard Candy. I do have like Inglot gel liners in here, as well as my MAC Fluid lines, my Sephora Smoky Cream Shadow Pencil, or Cream Shadow liners in there. Over here I have all of my NYX jumbo pencils and like jumbo pencil sticks, so I have a few of the Wet n Wild ones in here as well. So that's just in here so it's easier for me to see all the colors and it doesn't kind of get everywhere, because these are really hard to store in the sense where like if you store them with like little pencils, sometimes they can get lost throughout all your pencils, so I try to keep those separate. And then up here, I just have all of my primers. So I have these ones that came with the Urban Decay Naked 3. I have all of my paint pots, my NYX eyeshadow bases, Maybelline Color Tattoos, Too Faced Shadow Insurance, Urban Decay Primer Potion. I do have this, which I use as a primer, which is the Inglot eyeliner in number 76, I believe, which is just a white eyeliner, and it's waterproof, so I really love it. Just some e.l.f. primers and MAC and everything like that. And then I have my eyelash curler and my 2 Maybelline colored mascaras in the pink and the blue. The next part that I have here is all like my small eyeshadows and pigments. So all of my pigments are here. I have MAC pigments, Kat Von D, NYX, I have some e.l.f. and NYC. Over here I just have like loose or pressed eyeshadows that are single. So I have like Coastal Sands, CoverGirl, MAC, Revlon in here. And then back here are just small palettes, so little quads. So I have Sephora, Avon, Tokidoki, LA Colors, NYX. Just smaller palettes that shouldn't or wouldn't fit in like the bookcase because they're just too small. But they are more like a palette or a quad. Then the next one over here is my bronzer drawer. So I have everywhere from Ulta to the NYC Sunny, e.l.f. Contour and Blush Kit, Rimmel, Wet n Wild, Color Icon, MAC Refined Golden, NARS Casino, more e.l.f. like $2 ones, the Ulta Baked Bronzer, Hard Candy, what is this, Tropics? Yeah, Tropics. Just all of these, and then back there I do have a NYX concealer, and I don't know what color it is actually, let me check. It is in the shade Nutmeg. So this is just a darker cream concealer to use as like a cream contour, and then I just keep the brush that I use for my bronzer for that week in there, and I do change my brushes out every like 3 to 4 days. And then the next drawer is my blushes. So I have all like Wet n Wild, NYX, e.l.f., the BH Cosmetics 10 color blush palette. So I have all these here, and then my one NARS Madly. So I just keep these in here, just single blushes or like a complete blush palette. I do have blushes in all of my like eyeshadow palettes and a few of them, but I keep those in the bookcase because it's just easier to keep those there, and then I keep all of my single blushes or my blush palettes in here. And then I just keep this container, this bin, with the brushes that I was using for that week. I don't have it in this one because if I put the bin in, it makes all the bronzers like pile up on top of each other, and I don't like that, so I just keep that separate. And I'm trying to like go quickly because my camera's about to die, but the next one I do have is highlighters. So I have the Essence, the Wet n Wild, e.l.f. cream, the Benefit What's Up, and eyeshadow from Wet n Wild, a e.l.f. blush in Koi, the e.l.f. golden bronzer, and Ulta eyeshadow in the shade Silk, and then I have a MAC high definition powder thingy back here, which is just in Super White FX, which is a limited edition product, and again the brush that I used for my highlight. And then the bottom drawer is just miscellaneous things, and then the lips, so I just have brush rolls and stuff down there, and then my lips, which is not too exciting. I don't use this drawer that much. And then down here again is the miscellaneous things. I have like all of my like piercings, like jewelry down here. I have razors, little bows, Vaseline, and things like that. So I keep those in there. So that is pretty much it for my makeup collection and storage. I'll just give you like one little overview again. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions again on any of the products you see here in this video, you can just leave a comment below, or you can email me again at my email, which is dollypop23@gmail.com. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, everybody.